Okay. Today we are going to start our new topic of macroeconomics, that is about international trade. We all know trade means the exchange of goods and services among the buyers and sellers. That is called trade. And when it is taking place among the nations, that is called international trade. International trade means when exchange of goods and services that is taking place among the nations, that buyers and sellers, they are sitting in two different countries, then we say it is called international trade. So trade means exchange of goods and services, means exchange of goods and services. Okay, so this is called exchange of goods and services. We have two types of trade. One is called domestic or home trade. Domestic or home trade. That means a trade which is taking place within the geographical boundaries of a country, like within our territory, whatever the goods and services we are buying and selling, that is called domestic trade or home trade. And it has many types, like wholesale trade, like retail trade, like installment buying, credit purchase, e-commerce within the country. So we have domestic trade within the geographical boundaries or territory of our country, that is called home trade or domestic trade. Whereas international trade or foreign trade, it will take place among the countries. Like we can buy goods and services which are produced in US or in England or in any part of the world where our trade linkages are present. We can buy those goods and services, and the rest of the people in the world, those who are living in other countries, they could also buy from us, like whatever the goods we are producing as our specialization, they could be traded among other countries. So this is called international trade. It will have two main types. One is called exports, another is called imports. So exports means when our goods are going abroad. These are the foreigners' expenditures on buying our goods and services. When foreigners, they are buying from us, this is called what? Export. And when we are buying from foreign countries, the sellers, they are sitting in different countries, we say it is called import. So import means our expenditures on foreign goods, and exports means foreigners' expenditures on our goods. What is export? Foreigners' expenditures on our goods, whereas imports are our expenditures on foreign goods. This is called export and import. Now how a country can export the goods and how will it be importing the goods? That depends upon the specialization area. Do you remember specialization? We started it in our very first lesson of division of labor and specialization. What do we mean by division of labor? Actually, when the whole production process is divided into smaller parts and each worker is assigned a separate task to perform, that means the whole production is divided into different units. So this is called division of labor. And by repeating the same task again and again, like one worker, he is going to stitch out the football, so he will become the specialist of stitching footballs. And one is going to have the other functions to perform, so he will be repeating the same task again and again. And when he or she is going to repeat the same task again and again, this is called the process of specialization. And we said it earlier, the specialization will take place at three levels. One is called individual specialization, like one firm is specializing in a one range of products. It is producing only the footballs, that is called individual specialization. Or in case of medical sciences, we all know that there is a specific line of specialization of a doctor. Like if he is an eye specialist, he cannot provide his services for healthcare, or he cannot provide his services for other medical practices. So we find that the medical services, they are having individual specializations. Okay. Now today we are going to have another form of specialization which is called regional specialization. Another form of specialization, that is regional specialization. What we mean by regional specialization, actually when a certain region of the country is going to show us specialization, that is called regional specialization. Okay. So the last part of specialization is national specialization. What it is? National specialization. When we talk about national specialization, the whole nation is specialist of producing one range of product. So in our very first chapter, I said individual level of specialization will be promoting what type of trade? Interpersonal trade. Like there is one teacher who is specialist of teaching his own subject, another is a doctor, he is a specialist of providing medical services. So when they interact with each other, they are exchanging their services. Like if a teacher wants to get treatment from a doctor, he will visit him, he will visit the doctor, and when doctor wants to take his children to a school in order to get education, he will be contacting a teacher or a school. So this is called interpersonal trade. When two persons, they are involved in trading activities, the level of specialization is at individual level, and we are having interpersonal trade with each other. And when we talk about regional level of specialization, so the two regions, they will be specialists within the same country or in other parts of the countries. Like one region in Asia, that is specialist of producing one type of product, and in Europe another region is specialist of producing another type of product. Okay, so in that case the two regions, they are going to specialize and then they are trading with each other. This is called inter-regional trade. Now the level of specialization has been promoted to the regional level, therefore the trade has also been promoted to the inter-regional trade. And at national level of specialization, we see when there is going to be a national specialization, there will be international trade. So as the level of specialization is increasing, the level of international trade will also be growing with it. If specialization is removed and there is no single medium of exchange to accept the payments to buy the goods and services, the trading activities will also be less and less. So in order to have more trading activities, there should be more specialization, and due to specialization, the goods need to be exchanged by using a single medium exchange, that is called money. If money is present, then easily trade can also be promoted at international level. Now let us see what are the reasons why countries are trading with each other. Why the countries, they are trading with each other? We know that everyone is not self-sufficient. The reasons of international trade. The reasons of international trade. What are the reasons? One reason is what? None of the countries self-sufficient. None of the country is self-sufficient. What do you mean by self-sufficiency? Like if you want to have iPhones, we are unable to produce them in our country, and if the American people, they want to consume the things which are agriculture in nature and they could not be produced in their atmosphere, and we are able to produce them, like mangoes, like cotton, the best quality cotton we are going to have in the world. So as a result, what happens when all the countries, they are having insufficiency of the goods and services what they are producing, so they are dependent upon other countries. So that's why they will trade with each other. So none of the countries self-sufficient. That's why there is a reason for international trade. When countries are having insufficient number of goods and services in their own territories, they will buy it. They will buy these goods from other countries. That is called what? The first reason of international trade. Second is what? Interdependence, which is due to insufficiency. Interdependence among the countries, like if you want to produce something in which we are not having the raw material, then we will be buying the raw material from other countries where it is present. So in order to re-export those goods by using the raw material, we are dependent upon the source of the raw material supply. So if it is in other country, we are highly dependent upon the raw material supply. So that's why we will be using the international trade to buy the raw material. Or sometimes we say the consumer wants, they are always growing, they are having unlimitation. So consumer wants, they are unlimited, so as a result they want to buy whatever is produced around the globe. That's why it causes interdependency among the countries. When we want to buy iPhone which is not going to be produced over here, we want to buy Samsung cell phone or televisions which are not produced over here. So this is our interdependency due to increasing human wants. That's why they are going to have more trading activities with each other. Third thing which is going to have the reason of international trade, if we are producing within our country, its cost of production is higher than the other countries. So when our cost of production to drill out oil from our piece of land where we have less quantity of natural oil, fuel oil which is available, so if we accept that our cost of production is higher than the other countries, those who are already extracting it, so in that case, our prices will be higher than the rest of the world, then definitely we will be buying from other countries. So another thing which is the cost of production, the competitiveness of the goods in which they are produced in their own country. So where competitiveness is going to be high, so that country will have the lower prices of those goods, and as a result they will be trading it with the other parts of the world. Okay, if cost of production is going to be higher in other countries and we are having less cost of production, definitely we will not be buying from the other countries, rather we will be using our own resource. So this is called what? Another factor which is going to cause the reason of the international trade. And fourth reason, which is going to be the weather conditions. Weather can be another reason of international trade, like in case of natural goods, whatever the things we are producing in our circumstances, in our temperature zone, they could not be produced by other countries, by nature. So in that case, whatever the goods we are able to produce by using our natural atmosphere, that is not available to other countries. That's why we are trading our surplus items with the rest of the world. So weather can be another reasons why countries they are going to trade with us, or we are going to trade with them. Like coffee cannot be produced over here, so we want to consume it, so we can buy it from Brazil. So Brazil as a source of coffee supplier will supply us this product which could not be produced in our atmospheric conditions or environment. So we are going to have another reason of weather which is going to have, and another reason which is the natural distribution of some of the goods, natural distribution by Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So this is another reason of international trade. Like oil, fuel oil is not present with all the countries in this world. A few number of countries are blessed with this type of natural wealth. Or the gold mines, they are not present with all the countries in the world, or diamond mines, they are not present, or iron, copper. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, our nature has divided all these resources into the different parts of the world. So as a result, whatever the basic resource is available, to a country that can be traded with the rest of the world. So we see over here, as a result, this could be the reason of international trade in the world, that the countries, they are having natural distribution of resources in the form of oil, in the form of different types of metals, minerals, vegetables, fruit items. So these are the natural distribution, or sometimes we have the capital distribution as well. Some of the countries, they have actually made themselves able to produce certain types of man-made resources which could not be produced by other countries. Like technological progresses, they have taken place in European countries, Japan, Korea, you can say, South Korea, and many other countries, those who are having advancements in their production of man-made resources. So they are able to produce as a unique product, as a technological products by themselves. So we need to buy these types of man-made resources from them. So that could be another reason of international trade, how countries, they have developed themselves about the man-made resources when they are lacking the natural resources with them. So these are the reasons why countries are trading with each other, or sometimes the political reasons are also there, that the two countries, they are having very good relationship with each other politically, they are the brother countries. So we can say they can trade with each other because they are having good political relationships, and their economic conditions are also good enough to trade with each other. They are not having too many trade barriers, that's why they are going to trade with each other. So sometimes the two countries, they are having enmity, they are not going to have good political relationships, and their economic conditions are also different, so they don't want to trade with each other. Okay, these could be the reasons: economic reasons, political reasons, trade barriers. They can also put a restriction on the international trade. If there are free trade, like we have no trade restrictions, then countries will be trading with each other. Now we come towards what could be the problems which are faced by the international traders. Problems. There was one question in our final exam of AS level in paper 2, which is not given in our book or in our syllabus contents, but that is too much general. Problems faced by international traders. How international trader could be finding the problems which are not associated in the domestic trade or home trade, but they are specifically associated with international trade. One reason that means communication barriers. Communication barriers. What is communication barrier? Like we are speaking English language, we can understand English, or in our native language we can trade within our country. But just imagine when we are trading with another country where our language cannot be communicated with the buyer, or the German people, they are not understanding English even, or some of the African countries, they are having their own regional languages, and they do not understand English or other language other than their own native language. So how trade could be possible when there is a strong communication barrier? So if communication barrier is there, language problem is there, the international trade can be restricted. And if this problem is overcome by using, nowadays we are having different types of softwares, like if we are having a written letter from our buyer in their own language, that can be translated by using Google Translate, or different softwares can translate those languages into our language or in English. So then this barrier can be overcome nowadays. But previously, when we were having more of international trade without the help of international softwares or international Google translators, so this was going to be having a strong communication barrier among the countries when they were trading with each other. So communication barrier, this is the first of all which is present in case of international trade, which is not even felt during the domestic trade or home trade. Now come towards the another barrier which is there, that is called natural conditions. Conditions or weather. Like whatever the goods we are using over here, if they are not having favorable or suitable weather conditions to be used in other countries, then definitely we will be having a barrier to send those goods to the other parts of the world. Like whatever the clothes we are using in our atmosphere, in our environment, they could not be adopted by the other countries' atmospheric conditions. Their weather conditions are not favorable or suitable to use those things as we are using them. Then this can be a barrier. We have to produce and sell the goods and sell goods according to their weather condition, according to their environmental conditions. Then this will be a good international trade. Third thing, their customs and traditions. Weather is one of the things. Customs and tradition. Right now we are using shalwar suit over here in our country, which is going to be our national dress as well. If we export these things to those countries where this type of dressing is not a tradition or not in their culture, that cannot be sold. We have to sell or produce those types of goods which are suitable according to their custom, their traditions, or the most importantly according to their religion. So okay, we have to know about their culture in order to sell the goods in their country. We have to know about their weather conditions. We have to know about their religion as well. Okay, what types of goods they want to buy from us. So that's another reason of international trade, that the traders, they are facing a problem in case of international trade. And the fourth reason of international trade could be packaging. The goods which are traveling to the other parts of the world by shipment, they need to be properly packed. They should be having proper packaging, which is not going to be having any association in our domestic trade. They can be loosely packed in our domestic trade, but once these goods are traveling to other parts of the world, they need to be properly packed according to the containerization conditions of international trade. How these goods will be containerized, they should be properly packed, because once the goods are moving from here, they need a proper packaging, that they should not be damaged once they reach to their destination. Like we see many of the television sets, LEDs, they are coming from other countries, but they are properly packed that they could not be damaged during their traveling or during their transit. So we see packaging is very important in case of international trade. If they are not properly packed, goods could be damaged and they could not be sold in international market. Another reason which is would be the problem of international trade, this is called our price is including cost, insurance and freight. Alright. Whatever the goods we are exporting to the other countries or we are buying it, our price will be including the insurance cost as well. Because once the goods they are moving from any shipment, they are in transit, they are subject to any type of damage or loss during their transit. So they should be properly insured by the exporter. Then our price will be including not only the cost of production, but it is including insurance and freight charges. In order to sell to the other countries, then our prices will be little bit higher, and they are also subject to the risk of damage as well during the transit. That's why insurance is also paid. And another thing which is going to be a problem of international trade, which is found over there, that is trade barriers. Trade barriers mean the countries they have imposed certain types of taxes on our goods. Like whatever we are exporting, they are the imports of the other country and they want to restrict their imports. That's why they are imposing certain types of tariffs, quota, embargoes, and certain other restrictions in order to restrict the international trade. So trade barriers are also a problem for international traders, how much quantity they could sell within 1 year to that particular country or a region. So that is another barrier. Seventh problem of international trade is exchange rate. Keep it in mind, when we are trading within the country, our local currency is acceptable by the sellers in order to exchange the goods and services. But once we are involved in international trade, our currency is unacceptable. So we need to exchange our currency with the international currency as well, like dollar or euro. So international currency exchange rate problems are there. What is the international exchange rate problem? Like whenever we have sold goods or exported goods to the other country, our exchange rate is right now $1 equivalent to around about 160 rupees. So once we receive the payment, if our currency appreciates, like dollar becomes equal to 155 or 150 rupees, then our payment in terms of local currency will be lower. Okay, and if our currency depreciates, then we will be having more payments in the form of local rupees, our local currency. So that is the main thing. Changes in exchange rate value can affect our payments in terms of local currency. This is also a problem which is not present in case of domestic trade. Another problem which is also associated in international trade, that is problem of default. Problem of default means when we have sent the goods to our trade partner, he received the goods from his port, and once he is going to make the payment, he could not be traced out. Where has he gone? So problem of default is that we are unsure about the receiving of the payments from international buyers. Once they receive the goods, if bank is giving us a guarantee that that bank will make the payment in case of default, then it is quite secure business and secure international trade. And if bank is not taking any type of guarantee by issuing the letter of credit or LC, then if there is a risk involved that we have sent the goods and we are unable to receive all the amount which could be there while we are exporting the goods. So problem of default is there. Sometimes our buyer is running away and he is not making a proper payment to us. He is making payment in installment, or our money is not received properly through international linkages, like through legal channels, or money is received but through illegal ways. So we could have these types of problems which are associated with international trade. If there is a question in international trade, like what types of problems a country or a traders will be facing in international trade, you can also write another problem: economic conditions, political relationships with the countries. They will also pose a problem for some of the traders when political relationships are not good between the countries. When they are the enemies, then they are definitely having many restrictions to trade with each other. So these are the problems which could be found in case of international trade, and they are not present in case of domestic trade. Okay, go through them and practice them as well. So whatever the things you are able to understand, so practice them at home and try to write a good economics essay on the problems which are faced by international traders. And tomorrow I will be starting the theories of international trade, absolute advantage theory and comparative advantage theory, which will tell us how countries are specializing in each other. Thank you very much.